All right, good afternoon. This is the first time that we have had a alcohol subcommittee meeting of the Baltimore City Delegation, and I'm your chair for this subcommittee, Delegate Luke Klippinger from the 46th District. And we want to welcome anybody who may be watching this, what should be a relatively brief day today. We're going to be hearing three different bills. I'm going to be presenting one of them on behalf of Delegate Branch. Another one is my bill 572 that has to do with liquor licenses in the 46th District. And then Delegate Rosenberg has his bill that we'll actually call first, and that's House Bill 256. Just so for the people who are watching, here's what we're doing. The subcommittee is going to meet and basically vet these bills, make sure, find out if there are any amendments that have to be done. They'll provide a preliminary approval, and then this subcommittee's work will then go to the full delegation. What we're hoping to do is help smooth things going forward with the delegation so that these bills can move a little faster and in advance of what's called here in Annapolis Liquor Day, the day when all bills related to alcoholic beverages are heard by the Economic Matters Committee. That day is on February the 17th. So we're trying to get this work done, or at least address any issues if we can prior to that time. So with that, we'll start with Delegate Rosenberg's bill, House Bill 256, which I know he is presenting on behalf of himself and the entire 41st District House Delegation. Go ahead. But we have to be able to hear you, Sandy.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of myself, my colleagues from the 41st District, Delegate Bridges, who is in Zoom attendance, and Delegate Attar, this legislation was prompted by a community meeting in the Irvington community. Concerns were expressed about the Frederick Station Saloon. We investigated. There have been violations, and I would quote the chairman of the liquor board in October 2018, Judge Matriciani. This is, as I count, the sixth violation since the licensee has had the license, and it was suspended then for 5 days. What would this bill do? This is a BD7 license, which, as the subcommittee members know, I assume, is the crown jewel of licenses. You can be open until 2 a.m. This bill would change the hours for any liquor store in a certain part of Frederick Avenue to be open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. This is not the first time we've done that in the 41st District. We did it for a liquor store or for the area that included a liquor store in the Howard Park area after there were 3 shootings outside, and it was a problem operation. We've also done it more broadly in the Park Heights community. So this bill would do what we've done elsewhere. We also have in the testimony, in the written testimony, data submitted by the city police, Baltimore City Police, that in this specific block in 2020, of the 93 calls, 66 were for narcotics. So this is a issue that needs to be addressed. I would also add there is one amendment that we are proposing. That is, the bill says that this would apply to properties on the north side of Frederick Avenue between South Augusta and South Loudoun. I should have known, but I will acknowledge my unforced error in the presence of 2 poly graduates, that the north side of the street is the even side and the south side is the odd side. I should have known that. So that's it's numbers, but even as City College graduate, I should have known that. So I would urge, with the amendment, a favorable report. Thank you. And on behalf of my colleagues.
All right. Ms. York indicates that she is also a poly graduate, so there are 3 of us on the call right now.
Okay.
That's fine. Delegate Boyce, did you have a question? Okay, take
I
care.
would first say this city poly thing. I've been here for 17 years now in the city, and I still just don't get it. Y'all crazy. I'm just gonna put it out there. Anyway, y'all crazy. I do want to just a clarifying question that this particular legislation only speaks to this particular establishment, so that if this license, for instance, is sold and it ends up coming to the 43rd or the 46th district, it would still be a BD7 license.
Correct.
So
It says that only if any liquor license in this certain block, this certain area, it affects it only there. Yes, that is
okay,
correct.
and this only affects the one establishment or more than one.
I believe that in this area, there's only one establishment. It's drafted this way, so it's not, a bill speaking to only one establishment, but we've run this, I'm pretty sure the drafter was aware of the necessity of avoiding a bill that speaks to only one establishment.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sure.
All right. Um, let's see here. So what we're going to do, the way that I'm going to go forward here is the whole idea here is that we would have a hearing and then we'd vote on it in the next week. So we'd be able to, deal with any amendments and make sure they're drafted. For what it's worth, if I'm not mistaken, there are 4 members of the subcommittee who are on the call right now. And that's me, Delegates Rosenberg, Delegate Bridges, and Delegate Boyce. Delegate Branch is not here, and he is the 5th. That's my understanding. In any case, we're not going to be voting on anything tonight, but we did want to have the hearing. And now that I know that there's an amendment, then we'll be able to move that next week. I don't necessarily want to be, too much like molasses, but I see you, Delegate Lewis. I know.
Am I not supposed to be here?
You,
Am I not welcome? Is that what you're saying?
you are welcome. From the bottom of my heart, you're welcome, but you're not on the subcommittee.
Really?
So you don't have to be here unless you really desperately want to.
I miss you guys, but I'll hang out. I might learn something.
Okay, that's fine. So with that, I think that's going to conclude the hearing on House Bill 256. And then I'm assuming if you got the amendment prepared, then we'll be able to get that around to everybody and we'll be able to take care of that next week.
Right.
House Bill 506 is Delegate Branch's bill that I'm going to handle on his behalf, but I believe that there's going to be a comment from the representative of the Liquor Board, from Mr. Blendy, about it. House Bill 506, throughout the alcoholic beverage article, there are references to the 46th Alcoholic Beverages District that has the same boundaries as the 46th Legislative District and the Legislative Districting Plan of 2002. Well, clearly we're beyond that, and our districts are actually based on the redistricting plan of 2012. Those have never been updated. And so what Delegate Branch's bill does, Delegate Talmadge Branch's bill does, is it updates all of those references in the alcoholic beverages article to the new designation. There is a problem in the bill in that it also makes reference to the 47th Alcoholic Beverages District, which no longer is in Baltimore City, it's in Prince George's County, and it would create a disparate result. And so with that, I'm going to go, I think that is what Mr. Blendy is going to raise as an issue. So let's talk to Mr. Blendy here for a minute. Nick Blendy.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Nicholas Blendy, Deputy Executive Secretary of the Baltimore City Board of Liquor License Commissioners. You pretty much nailed it. As I understand, the sponsor intended the draft was to update the maps, but in bill drafting, the very dutiful bill drafters appear to have updated, as you referenced, the section on page 2 at line 4 through 7 the old 47th Alcoholic Beverages District, which, of course, prior to 2002, District 47 was in Baltimore City. And now, after that redistricting in 2002, moved to Prince George's County. So, as currently drafted with that update, this ceases to be a local bill and becomes a statewide bill because it starts referencing parts of Prince George's County. That, after speaking with the bill sponsor, was never the intent. And so the way that I believe he is going to propose to DLS to resolve this is in that section. I think he wanted to strike the anything that was changing the existing portions of what is that 12903 D1, 2, 3, and 4. And I can explain in further detail if you want, but I will close by saying I spoke with my board members. They don't have any formal position on any of these bills, but they wanted to be absolutely certain that you as delegates and your colleagues across the street got the technical advice to not make any unintended consequences happen like would be happening if this bill was not amended. So I can shut up now or talk more, whatever you like, Mr. Chair.
That's fine. I think this really only, as is laid out in the bill, this only impacts references in the alcoholic beverages article actually to the 46th legislative district, and it makes those changes, and it is basically a technical change. I'll double check with people in my district to make sure that it's not something that has some larger, wide-ranging effect outside of the what would have been the old 46th district in 2002, or in the 2002 redistricting. But yeah, we can't do anything.
Sandy Rosenberg.
Sandy, would you mute, please?
Hold on.
Thank you.
So, and Mr. Chairman, the one thing that I'll flag why you want to leave the old references to 47 alone is because they allow for certain existing. We actually don't have the ability to find out if there are any. We'd have to go through paper files if there are any permit licenses that have been issued prior to 1991 in the old 47th, which is the 46th now. So by leaving that section alone, you would not be accidentally depriving any license holders of rights that they may currently have.
I understand. All right. So does anybody have any further questions on this relatively technical bill? But Delegate Boyce.
I'm sorry. I'm a little confused. So as it stands, are changes made in general every census year to begin with to make these altercations?
To make the changes, my impression is they should be happening every 10 years, but they did not happen in these specific cases. And that's why Delegate Branch is bringing this bill.
Understood. And okay. I got other questions, but I'll keep that for another.
Okay, that's fine. All right, are there any other questions with regard to 506? All right, we will come back to this next week. Just members, and this I think is going to go for Sandy and here for me here in a minute. If you have amendments for delegation bills, they should go to what we'll call Jeremy Baker, the Baltimore City version, who is the city delegations counsel, rather than going to the amendment office. You can send them directly to him so that we can keep that all together. The last bill is House Bill 572, and it is the annual 46th District Alcoholic Beverages. I don't know what we call it. We'll just call it the bill. It's sometimes more of an extravaganza, but this is a bill. It does two things, and committee, there will be an amendment next week for a third thing. One of the things, we have a distillery in the 46th district called Old Line Distillery. It's over in Highlandtown. They have talked to the Highlandtown Neighborhood Association. They are required to get a 6-day D license as part of being a distillery. They would like to be able to to make that a 7-day D license. So that is one of the things the bill does. And it's being done with support from the Hollandtown Neighborhood Association. And then there are actually 2 new businesses in the Canton Crossing. This is the development near at the intersection of Boston Street and Conkling Street. There's a Harris Teeter there, a Target there. There is one business that is requesting a D. This is basically a tavern license that would be at one new business within the development on the north side of Boston Street. And then the second D license would be for a second, or actually I think this is a third branch of D Pasquale's, who will be opening a new store in, I don't think it's called the Broom Factory. I forget what it's called all of a sudden. It's again in the development on the north side of the intersection of Boston and Conkling Streets. The reason that they have to ask for D licenses through legislation is that the mall or the strip malls there, the development there, are in precinct number 8 of the 26th ward, and there is a prescription on bringing new licenses into that area from outside of that area. The Brewers Hill Neighborhood Association has approved one of them. They are going to be meeting about the D Pasquale's license here in the next couple weeks. So we are going to get an amendment done sort of provisionally with that one. And that is House Bill 572, because every year we have a liquor bill from the 46th district. Are there any questions for me? Delegate Rosenberg, who's going off mute. Maybe.
Didn't Pete Hammond's grandfather work in the Broom Factory?
I think he did. Yes, yeah. I think he did. And it's
Pete
not far from
Hammond,
where Pete Hammond lives, where these the two licenses would go, not far from where Pete Hammond lives.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Not sure it's pertinent to the bill, but okay, fine. Well, I'll allow it. It's great. All right. Are there any other questions? All right, seeing none. Here's what we'll do. So next week we'll plan on voting on House Bills 256, 506, 572 with amendments for all 3. Actually, are going to need amendments. So we'll request amendments through Jeremy Baker, our Jeremy Baker, and committee. There will be further bills. Being that this is the first year that we've done this, there are still alcohol bills that have not yet been dropped. I'm certainly encouraging people to drop them as soon as possible. We will hear any new bills that show up in the next few days, next Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and we'll vote on them the next week. If any come in after that, it'll be a bit of a push, but we'll try and hear what we can for 2 weeks from now. So I guess what I'm doing is putting on your radar screen that I think that would be the 9th. The 9th could be a longer meeting because we may have more that we have to do on that day as these things move through. But the idea is to basically get all of this work done and we approve it, disapprove it, and then we send it to the delegation, and then they can hopefully take it as a group unless somebody wants to deal with a bill individually. So that's the goal. We'll see if it works or not, and we'll go from there. Are there any further questions? Yes, Mr. Blendy.
For Baltimore City, Jeremy Baker, I believe the Senate bill has already had an amendment, so I can just coordinate. Do you want me to just send that to the bill sponsor for the cross file of Delegate Branch's bill?
That'd be great if we can do that. Okay. All right, if there aren't any further questions, thank you all very much. We kept it relatively short, only 20 minutes. This is not judiciary line of level of timing. I mean, I don't know. It should be another hour and a half at least. But thank you very much and really appreciate all your time. Have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.